You've run the mortgage math, you know your payment, you've budgeted for property taxes and homeowners insurance, you feel like you know what this is going to cost every month, and then you move in. The first year of homeownership has a way of introducing first-time buyers to a category of expenses that never appeared in any of the budgets they built while they were still renters. Not the mortgage, not the taxes, not the insurance, the other stuff. The stuff that was always there, that the previous owner was dealing with, that didn't show up in the listing, and that no one in the transaction had a financial incentive to warn you about. Here's the list nobody gave you before you bought. The standard rule of thumb says budget 1% of your home's value annually for maintenance. On a $320,000 home, that's $3,200 a year, or about $267 a month. In practice, the first year of home ownership in a home with any age or deferred maintenance often runs higher. Here's why the 1% rule exists and what it's actually covering. Routine maintenance is the ongoing work that keeps a home functioning as designed. Gutters cleaned twice a year, HVAC filters replaced every 1 to 3 months, dryer vents cleared annually, caulking around tubs and windows, pest prevention treatments. None of these are expensive individually. Collectively, they run $500 to $1,500 a year, and if you skip them, they become more expensive problems. Seasonal maintenance is weather-dependent preparation. Winterizing outdoor faucets and irrigation systems in cold climates, servicing the furnace before heating season, clearing vegetation from the home's exterior to prevent moisture and pest issues. These are generally low cost when done proactively and significantly more expensive when addressed reactively after damage has occurred. Repair maintenance is the unplanned expense category, the garbage disposal that stops working, the bathroom faucet that develops a leak, the fence board that blows down in a storm. These are inherently unpredictable individually, but collectively predictable. Something will break. Budgeting for what that is in advance means it isn't a crisis when it happens. The 1% rule is a reasonable average over time for a typical home in reasonable condition. A newer home might run less. An older home or one with aging major systems might run significantly more. The pre-purchase home inspection gives you a read on which category you're in. A good inspector will tell you not just what's wrong, but what's aging and likely to need attention in the next 3 to 5 years. Beyond routine maintenance, every home contains a set of major systems and components with finite lifespans that will eventually require replacement. Most first-time buyers know these exist in the abstract. Very few have budgeted for them specifically. The roof. A typical asphalt shingle roof lasts 20 to 30 years. Replacement costs vary significantly by region, roof size, and material, but a standard residential roof replacement runs $8,000 to $20,000. If the home you bought has a roof that's 15 years old, you have somewhere between 5 and 15 years before this expense arrives. That's a $55 to $330 a month savings requirement to be ready for it. The HVAC system. A central air conditioning system and furnace each have lifespans of 15 to 20 years. Replacement of a full HVAC system runs $7,000 to $15,000 depending on the home size and the equipment selected. If the system in your home is 10 years old, a replacement HVAC fund that starts with $200 to $300 a month makes the eventual replacement a planned expense rather than an emergency. The water heater. Shorter lifespan, typically 10 to 15 years. Replacement cost is lower, $800 to $2,500 for a standard tank unit, more for tankless. Easy to overlook because it fails suddenly rather than gradually. Make sure you know how old yours is. The electrical panel. Older homes, particularly those built before 1980, may have panels that are approaching end of life or that are undersized for modern electrical demand. Panel replacement runs $2,000 to $5,000. This often surfaces during inspection, but not always. Windows and doors. Seals fail over time. Single-pane windows in cold climates are significant energy cost contributors. Window replacement runs $300 to $900 a window depending on size, type, and installation. A full house window replacement on a larger home can run $15,000 to $30,000. The sewer line, the one most buyers never think about. In older neighborhoods, the sewer line connecting your home to the municipal system may be made of clay or cast iron, both of which degrade over time. A sewer scope inspection, which costs $150 to $300 and should be part of any home inspection on a property older than 30 years, can tell you the current condition. The sewer line replacement or lining can run $3,000 to $15,000 depending on length and method. Renters often pay utilities, but rarely pay all of them. Water, sewer, and trash may have been covered in the rent. The total utility picture in a home you own is frequently larger than what renters have been paying. Electric and gas costs vary enormously based on home size, insulation quality, HVAC efficiency, climate, and local rates. Ask the seller for 12 months of utility bills before closing. And this is standard practice, and any seller who declines to provide them is creating a yellow flag. The information tells you what the home actually costs to heat and cool, and whether there are efficiency investments, additional insulation, smart thermostat, HVAC service that would pay for themselves quickly. Water and sewer in a home with irrigation, a pool, or older fixtures can run significantly higher than apartment dwellers expect. If the home has an irrigation system, ask when it was last serviced and whether it has a rain sensor. Undetected irrigation leaks and inefficient run times are a common first-year surprise. Trash and recycling are direct bills in many municipalities rather than services built into property taxes. Small cost individually, but worth knowing. Internet and cable. If you're no longer on a multi-family building's infrastructure. Service options and costs vary by address. Check availability and pricing for your specific address before closing. This category is technically optional. In practice, it rarely is. Most first-time buyers move into a home with a list of things they want to change. Paint color, landscaping, kitchen hardware, light fixtures, flooring in one room. None of these are emergencies. Together, they can represent $3,000 to $10,000 in the first year if you're not intentional about sequencing and budgeting them. The first-year homeowner rule that actually works is this: live in the home for 90 days before you do anything cosmetic. Give yourself a full season to understand how you actually use the space before you spend money changing it. What seemed urgent during showings often becomes a low priority once you're living in the home. And what didn't seem important sometimes reveals itself as the thing that would actually improve your daily life. When you do start improvements, sequence them. Anything that affects the structure or systems of the home, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, goes before anything cosmetic. Paint over broken windows, new appliances before new countertops, the bones before the surface. And budget your first year of improvements at a specific number before you begin. Decide in advance what you're going to spend on the home in year one, separate from maintenance and emergencies, and treat that number as a ceiling. Improvement spending without a ceiling is one of the most common financial mistakes first-year homeowners make. The mortgage payment is the beginning of homeownership costs, not the totality of them. Maintenance, aging systems, utilities, and improvements are all real and all worth budgeting for before you close, not after your first expensive surprise reminds you they exist. The buyers who handle homeownership financially well in the first 3 years are almost always the ones who budgeted for more than the mortgage. They set up a dedicated maintenance fund. They got the home inspection and understood what the inspector was telling them about the systems. They lived in the home before improving it, and they built an emergency fund that survived the purchase intact. None of that is complicated. It's just information you needed before the keys were in your hand. Now you have it. You just budgeted for things most first-year homeowners discover the hard way. Give this a like and subscribe, and maybe send it to someone who just bought their first home before the first surprise bill arrives.